Welcome, students, to another episode of Mr. Marcas's Digital Lessons, and this digital lesson is dedicated to my 7th grade social studies class. And on today's digital lesson, ladies and gentlemen, we will be working on your guys' Unit 2 document-based questions essay planners. So by this point, ladies and gentlemen, you should have downloaded your guys' instructions off of Google Docs on Schoology. At the same time, I highly recommend that you guys also open up your Unit 2 Soviet document-based question document that you have here for your file, because you will need to use these documents in order to work on your guys' essay planners on this one. So let's go on and talk about your guys' essay planners real fast. So if you'll notice, these essay planners are exactly the same essay planners you guys used in your guys' Unit 1 essay. All right, so it's exactly the same layout when I talked about Alexander the Great. As you can see here, to work on your guys' essays, to plan out your guys' essay planners, you will need to work on your chicken foot thesis planner to plan out your guys' thesis. You'll need to work on your guys' bucketing activities to plan out your guys' body paragraphs, and then finally you do an essay outline to outline the entirety of your essay as well. All right. And of course, down below, we have the rubric attached to your assignment. So let's talk about you guys being graded real quick. If you go down here to the bottom for your guys' extra credit for you guys' rubric on this one, here's the 100% box. To get 100% of this assignment, ladies and gentlemen, you must do two things. One, you must effectively formulate and follow an action plan to explore your research question, which means you can do the essay planners correctly, and use methods to collect and record consistently relevant and appropriate information, which means your information is appropriate. All right, it's correct information. Now, you can get extra credit on this assignment, and to get extra credit assignment, first of all, you must do one, achieve the requirements above. You must get 100% first. I'm not giving you extra credit if you can't give me at least 100% on the assignment. That's just the way it goes. And secondly, once you do get 100%, you exceed the requirements of the assignment's instructions with additional information. So that's how you guys go about getting your extra credit on that one. So if you're wondering, for example, how can I get extra credit on an essay planner, Mr. Marcasa? The best way of doing it is that, as you can see here, we have 3 case points that you need to have for your essay. Give me a 4th one. If you do that and a 4th bucketing activity, and you add me a 4th little box, your essay planner, that will count towards your guys' extra credit on that part. So with that being said, let's go on and get started on your guys' chicken foot thesis planner first of all. So here's your chicken foot thesis planner. This is probably the most important planner that you need to work on for your guys' essay, because your thesis statement is the heart and soul of your essay. All right. What it does, it tells your reader what your argument is about your paper and how you're going to go about explaining that argument. Okay, that's why essay planner, why thesis statements are so important. So that's the first thing we're going to work on first. Now, as you can see here, your chicken foot thesis planner is made up of several parts. We have your analytical question, your argument, your 3 case points, as well as your guys' thesis statement. Now, the first thing you do, of course, is type in your guys' analytical question. That's exactly what your whole paper is about. To figure out what your analytical question is, just go back to your documents-based questions. So you can see right here, we have your topic, the Soviet Union. What should textbooks emphasize? So take that and type that into your argument analytical question. So the Soviet Union. What should textbooks emphasize? Oh, not emphasis. Emphasize, my bad, with a question mark. Like that, all right? So you can see there we have exactly the same thing. Now, I will warn you guys, I might make some typing errors as I'm typing this up. I'm actually talking to a microphone, and like my keyboard is right behind it, so it's kind of hard to get there. So if I do make any type mistakes, I do apologize for that. So, as you can see here, we have your guys' analytical question here. It's located here now. Now it's time for us to work on your argument and your case point. So, as you guys have learned, as you guys did your guys' documents-based research questions, you actually looked at a bunch of different types of documents, 8 documents in all actually, that showed you different factors of the different factors of the Soviet Union, things that they did. Things like the space race, for example, some things that they did. We also saw some really negative things that they did, as well as some really positive things that they did as well. So what you'll need to do really is pick an argument. And the nice thing about this documents-based question, there's only really 2 arguments you can really use for this paper. Either one, you could talk about that a lot of the things that the Soviet Union was positive, or you could talk about things were negative. All right. You must choose one of those 2 arguments, positive or negative. Now, my suggestion to you is this. If you struggle with essay writing, or essay writing is not very strong suit for you, my suggestion to you will be to take a negative argument. Just because a negative argument is a little bit easier to prove on your guys' paper. So if you struggle with essay writing, I suggest you use negative. Now, if you want a challenge, or you really do believe there are some positive things, you can also take a positive stance on it as well. It's really up to you which one you want. I mean, there's plenty of information for both sides, okay? So it's up to you. My recommendation, though, if you struggle with essay writing, I should recommend you go with the negative argument, okay? Because it's a little bit easier to prove on your guys' DBQ essays. So now that you figure out what argument you want to take, whether it's positive or negative effects, what you need to do now is answer your question. So here is your analytical question. What should textbook emphasize? textbooks should emphasize I'm going to use positive effects this time. Oops, sorry about that. Positive, there we go, effects of the Soviet Union. All right. Like I said before, I'm going to have some time mistakes because my keyboard's kind of weird. So there you go. Followed by 3 dots. 1, 2, 3. 3 periods. It's called an ellipsis. So as you can see here now, we now have our stance. In this case, I'm choosing to show the positive effects of the Soviet Union. What you only need to do now is provide 3 case points to show your argument. So for example, if you decide to take a negative aspect, give me 3 examples or 3 places in which, they show those negative effects. If you're using a positive one, do exactly the same thing. So for me, for example, I am going to make up 3 case points because I don't want you guys copying off of me. So for my case points, I'm going to use science and technology. I'm going to use arts. And let's say weaponry. Military, no, let's put down military technology. No, that should go into technology as well. Hold up, I respelled that one real quick. There we go. Science and technology, the arts, and we'll just say, I don't know, diplomacy. Let's have diplomacy. Diplomacy. We'll use that one as well. Okay, so those are my 3 fictional ones. What you guys need to do, of course, is pick whatever ones you want to. My recommendation is to look at your guys' documents real quick. You get kind of a good idea about that. You could use things like, when it talks about the economy, for example. You could talk about politics. That's another perfect example there. Actually, hold up. Let me go back and just change it a little bit so that way it's different colors. So you could talk about politics, for example, economics, for example. You could talk about politics, could be another really good one to use. You could use the military might of the Soviet Union. You could also talk about things like the space race if you want to as well. And you could also do something with sports, or you could do something with the arts. It's up to you which three you want to use. There's a bunch of different ones that you can use depending on your situation. And no, you cannot use the map, okay? The map doesn't do very much of anything except show you where things are located at, so ignore that one. Okay, that's not a document for you to use. Okay, so going to take a few minutes and figure yours out. Now, once you have your 3 case points and your argument, now it's time to combine your argument as well as your 3 case points and make your guys' thesis statement on this one. And to do that, all you need to do is take your argument and combine it to 3 case points. So in this case, I put down textbooks should emphasize the positive effects of the Soviet Union's, I'm going to put down advancements for my descriptive verb. Advancements in science and technology, followed by a comma. My second case point, the arts, followed by a comma. And my last case point, and diplomacy, followed by a period. And just like that, you have your argument. Your reader knows exactly what argument you're taking about the Soviet Union in terms of textbooks, and they know exactly how you can explain that argument out as well. And not to mention, you look like you're super smart and also very eloquent and articulate when you're working this way as well. So now that you guys have your chicken for the thesis planner done, the next thing you do, of course, is to plan out your guys' bucketing activities. Now, your bucketing activity is a way for you guys to organize your guys' body paragraphs. Now, whether you're aware of it or not, each of your case points, what you're telling the readers that each of your case points is going to have a series of body paragraphs dedicated to those case points. And your buckets are exactly the same case points as in your chicken for thesis planner. So, for example, my first bucket is dedicated to case point number 1, and case point number 1 is science and technology in mine. All right, your guys' second bucket is based on case point number 2, and in my second case point, it's the arts. And of course, you have your third case point for your bucket activity, which is your third case point up in your chicken for thesis planner, which happens to be diplomacy. So all you gotta do, of course, is click on your boxes. Let's get rid of that real quick. All you gotta do is click on your boxes and label your case points. So science and technology. My next case point is the arts. And my last case point is diplomacy. Just like that. All right. Now we have our 3 case points, and we know exactly what our body paragraph is going to be about. Paragraph number 1 is going to be about science and technology. Body paragraph number 2 is going to be about the arts. And body paragraph number 3 is going to be diplomacy. Not only that, but they're going to show you the positive effects that it had on these 3 things. Now, what you'll need to do is go into your documents-based questions and figure out which documents best represent your case point. So for example, if I was working on science and technology, and I think, and I look at my documents here, that document, let's see here, document E for military strength and document F for the space race are going to best illustrate that case point, I just write those down. So in this case, document D, E, and document F, for example, okay? And what I'll do, of course, is I go into those documents. So here's document D, for example, E, for example. It's got some information in there. And of course, I just go from there and type in the information. For example, advancements in nuclear weapons. And let's say the space program. All right, those will be my examples in this situation. You'll need to do exactly the same thing for yours. Now, my recommendation is this. You need to have at least 2 documents for each of your case points. You need at least 2. If you're working on a case point, for example, and all you can find is 1 document to support that case point, well, in that case, you need to get rid of it because that means it's a bad case point. You need to pick something else for that instead. All right. And yes, you can use multiple documents, 1 document for multiple buckets. So for example, if I think that document E also applies to diplomacy, I can also put that one here as well. You can easily do that. That is perfectly fine. And if you want to add more than 2 documents, that's perfectly fine as well. Whatever the case may be, though, what you need to do now for the next few minutes is to work on your bucketing activity and get those documents as well as information organized in your bucketing activities. So I'm going to give you guys a couple of minutes to get that done. Go ahead and pause this video at this point and work on those buckets. And when you guys are done, go ahead and hit play again on the video lesson, and we'll come back to and work on your guys' essay outline. So good luck to you guys. Okay, and we're back. So up to this point, you should be done with your guys' bucketing activities as well as your guys' chicken with thesis planner. We now know what your guys' essay is about. We have planned out your guys' body paragraphs. Now it's time to take all of that together and combine them into your essay planner. So here is your guys' essay planner. It's the very last one that we have here. So as you can see here, it's a series of boxes. Now the thing you need to remember when it comes to your guys' essay planners, the most important thing you need to remember is that you do not write sentences, okay? No sentences are required, okay? If you were to write a sentence for everything on this planner, what would be the point of you doing a final draft, okay? So once again, no sentences. Now, as everything, of course, there are some exceptions to that rule. In this case, I want you actually to write out your analytical question and your thesis statement in your introduction portion of your planner. I want you to do exactly the same thing for the restate of your analytical question and the restate of your thesis statement. And I want you to write out your although argument. All right, I want you to write those out as well. And the reason why is because in your guys' last essay, you guys struggle with these, and that's why I want you guys to write these out so that way you're fully aware which your analytical question is and your thesis statements are, and you're thoroughly aware what your although statement is, okay? Now, the nice thing about working it digitally, you can just copy and paste it real quick. So if we go to our analytical question here, we could just highlight your analytical question, press Control-C to copy it, and of course, you need to go up here to your planners, hit Control-V and place them where they're supposed to be at, which is actually kind of nice. You can do exactly the same thing with your thesis statement as well. Control-C and go to Control-V real quick. So that's the nice part about working things digitally. You can just copy and paste things really quick and have it be done. Now, once again, your essay planner is pretty straightforward. For your topic sentence, just some general information about how you plan on leading your essay. If you plan on using a quote, your quote must come from the documents-based questions. I'll have you guys research your own guys' quotes. That's just a recipe for disaster. Now, for your background information for your guys' introduction paragraph, that is where you're providing me a brief description of what time period we're talking about, where this is taking place at, and what the situation was. My suggestion to you is to check the background essay of your guys' documents-based questions. Because if you look at your background essay, it provides you with some background information. You seeing that? Background. It's like I planned that out or something on purpose. FYI, I did. So you can get that information. You can get the information that you need to give me some brief information on what was happening at that time period. And you can use that for your background info. Okay? Pretty straightforward for that part. Now, once you guys are done with that, of course, you move on to your guys' body paragraphs, and your body paragraphs are technically speaking have already been done because you guys have worked on your bucketing activity. So just give me some quick information about your topic sentence real quick for your body paragraph. You could use your copy and pasting again to copy and paste your first example into example number 1, and you can copy and paste your second example and your second example here, number 2, like that. So that way you can get that part taken care of real quick. And of course, just give me some information real quick, jot down some notes about how you're going to explain what positive effects took place in nuclear weapons, what positive effects took place in the space program, for example, okay? And I do that for each of your guys' body paragraphs. Now, finally, last thing we're talking about real quick is your guys' conclusion paragraph. Once again, you need to summarize your argument, just give a brief description of what your argument was about. And now we get to the although statement. A lot of you guys struggled with the although statement. What the although statement is that it tells you really that you're aware of the opposite argument that you're taking. So for example, but your argument is the most correct one. So for example, since my paper is on the positive effects of the Soviet Union, you can write down something like, although many people believe that the Soviet Union's negative effects should be emphasized in textbooks. So that's your for although argument. Oh, not all that. Sorry. Like I said, I'm going to make some timing mistakes on this because my keyboard's in a weird place. There are many more positive effects. Bam. And just like that. What you do is that you've just told your reader that you are aware of the other arguments, but yours is the most correct. That's pretty much what it is. And of course, just provide some information real quick in your conclusion sentence, and then you guys are all done with your planners. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That's quickly how you guys work on your guys' essay planners for Unit 2 DBQ Space Questions essay. So for the rest of the hour, make sure you guys are working on your guys' essay. Make sure you get it submitted. Your planners, all three completed and submitted by the deadline. So that way you guys can get full credit on it. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to message me on Schoology, and I'll get back to you guys as quickly as possible. So that's going to do it for this digital lesson, you guys. You guys stay healthy and safe out there, and we will catch you guys next digital lesson. Peace out, you guys.